What's up, everyone? We're gonna watch Why You Should Be Yourself Even Though You Hate It. So, um,
You-
I haven't had a lot of luck with being myself as a streamer. Well, I still do it. Maybe we need to like amp up ourselves a bit, but you know what? Maybe they'll just come along in the process. So let's go on and watch this video.
Yourself is advice you've probably heard hundreds of times. It gets said time and again because it makes people feel good. It's advice that reassures you to not be afraid. The
Where's
world
this
will love
from?
you as you are. But what if that's not true?
Hyrule?
What if being yourself doesn't feel good? What
I remember I used to not feel like my voice matched at all for VTubing because my voice was so deep. Like, guys, I don't know about you, but my voice is pretty darn deep, right? And so I thought I couldn't fit in. I couldn't fit in with the cute little voice because my voice wasn't cute enough. And I even remember asking my child, I was like, "You guys would prefer if I sounded like this instead, like ooh." Oh, that actually hurts. And they're like, "Oh, I hate that." They preferred my voice like this. I don't know, but and then even when I started doing voice acting, they preferred having a variety. I have not really gotten any gigs in voice acting, but I was just like, you know what? Maybe I could go somewhere with voice acting if I just do this. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But with that being said, yeah, it's one of those things where you should still just be yourself instead of trying to fit them. I mean, I guess I could always amp it up, but I don't see the point. So yeah, that's why I just don't even do it. So ew, disgusting. That's disgusting, Aaron. You're banned. More
if
baby
it
voice. You're
actually
disgusting.
feels terrible? There's not really any advice about that, right? The advice just starts and ends with be yourself. And they
Why is
make it
this so
sound so
good though?
easy. It's crazy because I
I'm
feel
sorry,
like
chat. Like I know all he did was put like subtitles, but I like the editing. I like the editing, chat. It's a pretty good one.
the value of authenticity is actually at an all time high right now. People seem to have stopped flexing all over social media. Like when I look at my YouTube homepage, I see people who are just sitting in their room talking to their camera and getting a lot of engagement.
Honestly, I low key get upset. Like I'm not jealous that they're successful. I get upset because I'm like, I can't do that. You know why I can't do that? Because when I tried doing that, they're like, "You're a VTuber. You need to be more entertaining, and you can't just have those personal talks." They do not want to hear those personal talks. I'm like, what the? They're like, "You're not human." I'm like, what do you think I am? I was like, am I AI? If that was the case, why am I doing all this work? Dang, peasants. Like, what is wrong with y'all?
But I'm sure there's people who go out there and be themselves and everything still sucks. In fact, it probably feels worse. What happens when you reflect about who you actually are and all you notice are the flaws, fears, and weaknesses you wish weren't there? No one talks about that part. No one tells you that being yourself doesn't always feel good. Instead, we're told to focus on the positives, to love ourselves no matter what. You listen to the advice, and now you have to face all the parts of yourself that you'd rather ignore. The parts that make you feel lazy, insecure, or awkward. It's a tough realization, and it's easy to stop there and shrug and tell yourself, well, I guess this is just who I am. But in my mind, that's not self acceptance. That's settling for less than what you're capable of. I think the truth is, being yourself, even when you hate it, is only the first step to becoming your best self. I
Hmm. Honestly, that's low key facts because, like, how you gonna become a better you if you can't accept you? Ooh, he got me thinking, Jack. He got me thinking. But at the same time, it's like, what if I have to put on an act in order to become the best of the best? Like, you guys remember the OG Speed era where he kept hyping things up and doing crazy stuff, right? And now he's at the chill era. Same with like Gideon, where he was like pranks Kai Cenat, and then they changed up. Like, is it that they grew from it, or is it because they decided that enough is enough, that I want to be my OG self? Like, what is it that made them change? So Also, I just really love the way my eyes are. They look so pretty.
I realized this personally when I started to reflect on parts of myself that I didn't really want to admit were true. For the longest time, I thought I just wasn't good at connecting with people. I'd show up to college and work events, and I would make small talk and laugh at the right moments, but afterward, I would feel drained, and I wouldn't really make any friends. I told myself it was because I was introverted, or because I just didn't click with people. But over time, I realized that wasn't the whole story. It wasn't the socializing that exhausted me, it was the fact that I was holding back. I was keeping people at an arm's length away. I kept everything light and surface level because I wasn't sure what would happen if I let my guard down.
You know what's crazy though, Chat? I was myself. People hated myself. They hated the way I acted. Back then they're like, so like, what's crazy is that people your age might not like you, but like it's the adults who liked me, and it was so weird because I couldn't really get a lot of friends my age. And then COVID happened, and it's just like, darn. Um, and now it's low key kind of scary to try and make people friends my age, but it's just one of those things you just kind of do. Um, because you know I don't want to just be online 24/7. I want to be able to do stuff outside. So, it's kind of weird because I I just feel like um I missed a part of growing up because of COVID. Also because of a lot of responsibilities I had to step up to. And it was just kind of sad, but at the same time, I kind of needed COVID to get through school because my health was just sinking like crazy. It's one of those things where it's like, you gotta get the good and the bad. But that's why I guess with streaming, I just kind of wanna see if I could actually get there. Maybe because that would open more opportunities to be able to do all these type of stuff. But that's why I always force myself to keep doing it, even though if I get no results.
What if I shared something personal and they judged me? What if they didn't care? That fear kept me from being open with others and from building the deeper connections I actually wanted. It wasn't until I started admitting that fear to myself, that fear of vulnerability, that things began to change. Just being myself meant accepting that I was someone who avoided emotional risks because I didn't want to be hurt. And yeah, those realizations did.
Yo, that's me, honestly. Um, that's straight up me, which is why it's like when you try to be open and then someone backstabs you, and you gotta learn that it's not your fault. It's just that person was not meant to be your friend. So it's just like you just gotta grow up or learn from that, and it doesn't mean you should change who you are just because of that person. But it's also could be a lesson on how much you're willing to share with someone, with how quickly and so forth. So
Didn't feel good. It showed me exactly how far I was from the person I wanted to be. But once I acknowledged them, I could start asking myself why I felt that way. Why did I think vulnerability was a bad idea? Why didn't I want to let people in? And as I worked through those questions, something changed. I started sharing more small, honest parts of myself. Some people pulled away, but then others really appreciated it, and they stuck around to become great friends. When you're honest with yourself, your strengths, your flaws, your tendencies, you stop avoiding what you actually are. Avoiding vulnerability and keeping my guard up, it was undeniably a part of who I was. But just because I was those things didn't mean they had to be a part of me forever. Once I started challenging those thoughts and those patterns, I found that I actually liked being around people. I enjoyed connection and making memories. And when I stopped shielding myself from others, I stopped feeling so tired. Instead, I felt fulfilled. And that's what my point is. Being yourself isn't about staying the same, it's about starting from a place of honesty. The problem with just be yourself is that it sounds like a finish line. Like once you're yourself, everything's good and you're done. But that's not how it works. Being yourself means confronting some hard truths. For some people, being yourself might mean admitting you're afraid of trying because failing feels too painful. For others, it might mean recognizing that you sabotage relationships because you don't believe you deserve them. These aren't easy things to admit, and some people go their whole lives pretending that it's not true. But once you just be yourself, you take the first step to move forward. You can't change anything about yourself until you accept who you are right now.
Dang. Um, how you guys feel about that? Um, I don't know. I know that like in terms of content creation, I had to I had to take a step back, and I had to for the longest time I was like, I don't want to do collabs, I don't want to do this and that because I want to grow on my own. And then I realized that was one of my flaws, is that I can't do it by myself. I needed help to grow. I needed help to improve myself. Not use people, but to learn from them. Like I needed someone to help me learn what I was doing wrong so I could figure out what I can do right in order to improve myself instead of just getting constant failures. Like I could just move faster with the process. And it's hard because the results are not right away. So you want to give up, but you can't give up. So it's one of those things where you just got to keep going on with the journey.
This is why just be yourself isn't enough. Acceptance isn't about saying, this is just who I am and I'll never change. It's about looking at yourself honestly, flaws and all, and saying, this is where I'm starting. Think of it like trying to get a higher rank in a game like League or Marvel Rivals. You can't get better until you know where you stand. If you want to climb ranks but you keep losing winnable games, it's easy to blame your own teammates or call it bad luck. But if you really want to improve, the first step would be to look at your own gameplay and ask, what am I doing wrong? Maybe you need to train more in aim lab, or you need to practice your communication. Maybe you just need to understand more about the game. It's not fun to admit that you're making mistakes. It's not fun to be yourself when yourself, in this case, is a garbage player. But if you don't face those truths, you might be hard stuck forever. Self honesty is like reviewing your matches.
Honestly, yeah, that's with streaming, or not even streaming, YouTube. Um for the longest time, I was just like, why am I stuck at like 20 views? Why can't I get more views? It's just like, what am I doing wrong? And it's something where it's just like, I'm here thinking just because my thumbnail looks pretty is enough to get other people to click on it. But that's not what I needed to learn. I needed to learn what makes a good thumbnail besides a pretty looking thumbnail. I needed to know, why is the thumbnail good? What do I need to do to improve the thumbnail and stuff like that? Like, it wasn't just about making the thumbnail pretty, it's about what does the thumbnail convey that makes me want to click on it. And then I start to learn what makes a good cook and what makes people want to keep watching the video. So it's so much that needs to get done when making a video. And then you have to also accept that you might just keep failing and not grow. And you gotta keep trying and see what works for you and your audience and have that loyal fan base who will support you and watch your videos regardless, just to support you. So like, yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, yeah, there might be people who will watch your videos just because, or there are people who actually want to watch your videos because they're good. And so just because someone's willing to watch my streams doesn't mean they're willing to watch my my full videos on the stuff afterwards. So that's something I had to learn.
It's taking a hard look at your choices and patterns and saying, this is where I'm at, and I'm figuring out where to improve. And as you put in the work, little by little, you'll start to climb. There's still a ton of work to be done after you admit what and where you are, but you can't grow until you know where you stand. You're not going to wake up one day and be a completely different person. Being yourself is a lifelong process, not a one time accomplishment. It takes constant reflection and self awareness. If you can look at yourself and say, I procrastinate because I'm scared of failing, or I push people away when I feel insecure, you've already done something huge. You've opened the door to improvement. No one is locked into who they are. You're constantly changing whether you realize it or not. So why not choose the direction of that change? If you've ever wanted to change something, whether it's letting go of fears or building better relationships, or improving yourself, it starts with one thing: being honest about where you are. So be yourself, even if you hate it. Because once you're honest about who you are, your strengths, your flaws, your patterns, you can start becoming who you want to be. Being yourself is just the first step. The rest is up to you. Later.
So yeah, that's the video chat. What do you guys think of it? Speaking facts, or do you disagree? Let me know down in the comments, and I hope you guys have a great one. This is JJB signing out. Bye bye.